Hmm. Hi everyone, good afternoon. We will be starting the webinar. Others will join in as they do, but let's dive right in. My name's Anand. I'm your guide for today's webinar. We aren't going to do this in a very formal way. This is going to be a workshop. In a workshop, you do the work. I just gently talk some random stuff, but ultimately you are doing the work. So let's go right ahead and enjoy ourselves. If in the process you need to attend to other things, go right ahead and not, it's not a classroom or anything. So let's start with what vibe coding is. And for the bulk of this workshop, I'm going to be sharing my screen. But at any point, if you need to check something or you need to share something, please don't hesitate to share your screens as well. For any messaging, please use the Zoom chat window. Just put in anything there. I will periodically be looking at the messages, not continuously, but every now and then. Now, what is vibe coding? Who knows? Who cares? Let's find out what is vibe coding. And let me ask. Now, the nice thing about what Google's done recently is they've introduced an AI mode, and I find this particularly powerful. Uh, you just click on it, and you have Gemini answer the question. And it says it's a software development approach where natural language prompts are used to direct AI agents, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I never had patience when I was young. I'm old, I'd have even less patience. I've been scrolling through social media, my patience has come down even more. And with all of these AI tools which are explaining to me in the way I want, my patience is zero. So, one of the things that I usually do when this sort of thing comes is look, this is too complicated. ELI 15. Now, ELI 15 is a take on the explain like I'm 5, ELI 5 acronym. Just tell me like I'm 15 years old. I don't understand complicated things. So it's saying vibe coding is like building apps by talking to a computer. Ah, okay. Instead of typing out thousands of lines of complicated code. Very good. Then why am I typing? I should really be talking to it, right? Now, in the spirit of not having too much attention and focus and all of that, I'm not going to read the rest of it. It is basically saying vibe coding is building apps by talking to a computer. Okay, good enough. I'm not going to listen to the rest of it. Now, what can I build? I don't know. You tell me. Allow it to use my microphone. Now, I don't know what kind of applications I can be vibe coding. Why don't you tell me what kinds of applications I can vibe code? Okay. Now, obviously, it does a terrible job of spelling some of this stuff, but who cares? It's saying in 2026, it's best used where speed and design matter more than complicated things. I think it's saying, okay, just go easy, can't build complicated stuff. Okay, no problem. So it is saying I can build a tracker. I can track my habits, okay. Personal budgets, that is useful. Workout planners, that is useful. All right, so let us try with one of these. Like I said, I'm not patient enough to sit and read the whole thing. We'll just try it out, and I invite you to try along as well. Now, by now, you would have figured out two things. Number one, I don't know much stuff. I just ask it anyway. It is smarter than the average person. I am an average person. So, why not use its brains? In short, if I say something and it says something, trust it, don't trust me. Second, don't ever be stuck anywhere because you have something or someone that can give you the answer to almost any question. And if you don't have a question, it can tell you what questions to ask. So, what are we stuck for? Let us go build it. Now, next, I want a place to build this in. Okay, this looks very interesting. I don't know where to build all of this stuff. Can you give me some ideas for sites where I can go build this? And keep in mind that I am not going to pay for any of this, so it had better be free. And it should be easy to use. Let it run. Now, I'm running all of these conversations in Google AI mode, but I could just as well be running this on ChatGPT, on Claude, on Gemini, on Grok, on Perplexity, on pretty much whatever you want. So it's saying I can build this on several free to use blah blah blah. It's saying there's Replit, there's Base 44. I have never heard of Base 44. Lovable I have heard of. Google AI Studio, yes, I've used this. And it's saying start with Replit or Base 44. Since I've never heard of Base 44, and this is a workshop, the point is to do work and get stuff done, I'm going to go to Base 44. And I'm going to try out one of these things. So let's go to Base 44 and click on build it for free. It's saying just build now, but I don't believe that just by typing it without me even logging in, it will uh, actually build the application. Maybe I need to log in. But here is the thing, this is 2026. I'm acting like it is 2023, thinking about, oh, I should log in and all of that. No, the point is just to go ahead and do stuff. So what should I do? Let's go back. It said some trackers and all that. Okay, habit trackers with streak visualizations sounds interesting. So I am going to just paste and say habit trackers with streak visualizations. Now you'll notice that I'm not putting in any detail. I'm not saying what I want. I'm putting in what Google AI mode has said is a decent application. I'm doing zero thinking, zero effort. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but it's easy. Now it is asking me, okay, log in via Google. Fine, let me log in via my Gmail ID and continue. And okay, habit tracker with streak visualizations. Now it's saying I will create a beautiful habit tracker. It is putting together a plan. It is putting some design language. It is putting some component structure. It is saying, let me build it now, and it is writing stuff. And this is the fun part of AI applications where they take time. Thank God for that. Otherwise, my brain will explode. So now we get a breather and let's go through some of the chat messages to see if there is anything interesting that anyone has commented on. I'm going to go backwards. Office code says, please mute your audio. So yeah, in case anyone has it unmuted, but no one has, so it's fine. And read.ai meeting notes has been added to the meeting. Personally, I think this kind of a thing is really powerful because what we can do is attend 2 or 3 meetings simultaneously, have the note takers take meetings, put it into an AI. Sometimes these note takers can even respond on our behalf. Very useful. And then I can ask it questions like who spoke the most? Were there any actions on me? What am I supposed to do? Better yet, do it for me. If somebody told me to build an application or somebody told me something which I can solve by building an application, just build the application for me. It's almost like I can, you know, multitask, clone myself, all kinds of things. So Ahalya, nice job adding read.ai. If anyone else wants to add a note taker, feel free. If not, I will share the recording of this. Okay, and if anyone has any comments, please post. But let me summarize where we are so far. We learned sort of what vibe coding is. It is roughly talking to a computer and getting it to build applications. We learned what kinds of applications can be built. It said trackers, generators. I didn't read the rest of it, but there's no point in me reading out what AI can give you when you can ask the same question and get the answer. So there's a bunch of stuff that vibe coding can build. My guess is it can build anything that any code can build. But that now actually means, hold on, why should I pay for Microsoft Office? If I can build or vibe code Microsoft Office, maybe we are not there yet. Maybe we are 1 year away, maybe we are 2 years away. But I can see a future where partly I don't need to pay for what I want. I can have one of these build it. So if I pay for these, then most software companies are going to be out of a job anyway, which also probably means most software developers are going to be out of a job. I don't know. We'll see. But secondly, it also means that the imagination becomes the bottleneck. What Excel does is one thing. Knowing that this is what I should tell Excel to do, or these are the features that I should offer in Excel, that requires a certain kind of genius in itself. Maybe AI can help me with that also. Who knows? But at the very least, it strikes me that doing becomes less important than knowing what to do. And we are seeing that AI can help at least a little bit in knowing what to do. Let us see how far we can take it. Third, there are a whole bunch of sites that let us vibe code. Now, what exactly the output of vibe coding is, we will see in a short while. But it looks like a site like Streakly can spend a good, well, so far it's been about 3 minutes. Okay, it's already built. So fine. In about 3 minutes, it has built an application. Great. Now, it is loading the application and I can publish it. So let me click on publish. Whatever it is, I'm not going to read. I don't have patience for reading and all that. And it has created a page. Let me copy this and paste it in the chat window. Habit tracker with something. I'll just say habit tracker and put it in the chat window. So now this habit tracker itself seems to have a Google login. So I can log in with my personal ID. And it says today, okay, it's already finished my morning meditation for me. Very good. Oh no, okay, fine. These are the 4 habits. I have to click on this, I think. And oh, okay, click on new habit. Fine, morning meditation. Wait, how do I, after I, okay, no, fine. It's saying I have, okay, fine. It has initiated my morning meditation and it has read 20 pages for me. But, okay, if I can unclick this. Okay, this is good. This is a proper habit tracking application. If I reload this page, does it remember what I had clicked on last time? Yes, it is remembering what I had clicked. So it is a working application. Now, here is the thing. Just 2 or 3 years ago, I actually spent $10 on a habit tracking application for my phone. Why? Because I have a whole bunch of habits. I track them and I was using it for about 1 year and then I lost the habit of habit tracking also. So that 10 years is down the drain. Now, this thing is free. It is giving me a habit tracking application in less time than it took for me to find that habit tracking application. What craziness. So now what we should do is, okay, if at all we want to pay, we should pay one of these applications. Now, how much will they cost? $10 a month. Okay, pay. And start churning out application after application, replacing all the applications on our phone. Now, I will just keep talking like this. What you should do now is take something you want to build, go somewhere and build it. We say, oh, but wait, hold on, I don't want to miss what you're saying. I'll say useless stuff. This stuff is getting recorded. You will get the benefit of it when you do stuff. So at any point, just start doing something. The success of this workshop is when you put a link in the chat window saying, here is an application I vibe coded in this workshop. Aim for 10 such applications. Doesn't matter what. If you've built 10 applications in the course of 1-2 hour workshop, then you have cracked vibe coding. You at least have gotten over that initial hump of actually getting some vibe coding done. Okay, go right ahead. That's also roughly what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is explore the vibe coding space. The workshop is where we get work done. So let me learn along with you. So let's go back here and say, all of this is interesting, but I already have a $20 ChatGPT subscription. I have a Gemini Pro subscription from Office. I have a Claude subscription. Now, how are these different from the kind of sites that you described, and can I use them for vibe coding? Okay, now it is thinking, but it is saying charge BT subscription. I'm guessing it will eventually figure it out. Cloud subscription also, okay, but yeah, ChatGPT, it was sensible enough. Gemini, fine, but Cloud, it misinterpreted my Claude pronunciation. So it is saying lots of stuff, comparison of subscriptions. Boss, this is too much for me to read. Explain like I'm 15, give it to me in 2 sentences. And let it. Okay. Your subscriptions provide the brains to write code, but they don't give you the tools to host and turn it into a live working app instantly. To use code for free, use Google AI Studio. This connects to your Gemini subscription and a builder that runs the app for you. Okay, fine. Now this is telling me in practice why I should be using those applications instead of ChatGPT and all that. Now this is where my brains actually come in. I actually know that you can do a decent amount of vibe coding on ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini Pro, etc. So I will be doing a little bit of that. But let us go back to some of the other applications that it said would be fun to build. Uh, Generators, grocery list. This is not a bad idea. Uh, if I wanted to generate a grocery list based on recipes, but I don't need an app for that. I already have ChatGPT for that. If I give it a recipe, it will give me the grocery list. So, not a big deal. Utilities, huh? This sounds interesting. Uh, let us see. Book recommendation engines, note-taking applications, travel itinerary planners. Yeah, maybe travel itinerary planners. I'm going to explore some of this. But we already have Sri Lakshmi submitting an application on opal.google. Okay, Opal I have heard of, but I've never personally used Opal myself. Let's see. This, I can only run this on Opal, is WordMate. Get instant English, Hindi, Telugu word definitions. Okay, let me enter the English word to define. Now, again, this is too much brain work. Give me an interesting English word that is difficult to translate. And let us see how well it does it. Sulk. Okay, let's give it sulk. Define sulk. And obviously it's AI versus AI these days. So, huh. Oh, it is going to generate English word audio also. That is very nice. And something went wrong. Okay, Opal is uh, an experimental Google Labs service. But let's find out what Opal is about. So Opal is about creating, editing, and sharing mini AI applications using natural language. That is hardcore vibe coding. So my guess is Opal is when Gemini woke up and said, "Wait, all of these people are building applications on top of my models. Let me also build an application, put them out of business like I usually do." And this is their answer to it. And obviously, they've not done a great job of it yet, but will probably catch up. So thanks, Sri Lakshmi, for sharing Opal with us. Let's take a look at what Bishwarup has shared. A base 44 app, which is loading, where I can log in and I'll use my personal ID. And this is a habit tracker. Great. Probably using a very similar prompt where I can say I should, I don't know, exercise every day and create the habit. And then today I can mark it off as done. If I revisit this page, then it will show today's habits done. Yes, perfect, spot on. And let's take what Aniket has built, which is, that's a location alarm. Interesting. So I will allow it to access my location. And now I'm not really sure. Okay, it's saying it's not able to get my, interesting. Aniket, maybe you could share the prompt that you used to build this in the chat window. That will help us understand what the application does. But this is a typical learning for me. Once I vibe code the application, I know what it does. The person using it doesn't know what it does. So one of the things that I usually add to the application is documentation, roughly on what this app is, how it is meant to be used, and so on. Let me give you an example of one such application, which I will also build for you along with you. This is an application, vibe coded, that converts Markdown. Oh, where did this go? Markdown to Unicode. For example, supposing I type, let's take this text is in bold and I will put star star around the bold. You'll notice that on the right side, it is actually turning out to be bold. Now you'll say, wait, hold on, that is not a big deal. That is what HTML does. That is what Markdown does. That is what everything does. Except that this is a Unicode character, which means that I can open on LinkedIn and I can create a new post where if I paste it, it will actually appear in bold text. Some of you may have seen LinkedIn posts where people put in italics, uh, bold, or constant monospace characters, that sort of a thing. I basically wanted that. So this was a utility that I vibe coded, and this explanation tells people what it's for. Now, obviously, it is not doing such a good job because if it had been doing a good job, it would have said, see, you can use this in LinkedIn. That is why it is useful. What I will do, maybe in this session, worst case if not, I will tell it. I will vibe code and add documentation explaining what this application is and how to use it. But really, I should do this for this streaks application. So what I'm going to do is dictate and say, the application works great and it's really nice. But see, for a first time user who comes in, they may not know how to use the application. I think we need some kind of visual documentation or a guide, flow, whatever, that definitely the first time user should be able to go through. And future users, I mean, somebody who's already seen it once can still go through it later on, maybe like a help or a tour or something. Don't spend too much time thinking about this sort of thing. Just do a simple job of this and send it. Now you'll notice the second aspect of vibe coding, which is when I get something, it may work, it may not work, but if it is working, I can make changes to it. In this case, it wasn't really a change, it was just a add the documentation kind of a thing. But that is because we start off with something very simple. And most engines are able to do that today. Let us try something a little more complicated. What I would like is ideas from you or your AI friends, whatever, on something that may be a little more complicated, but still useful to you that you could build. And share that in the chat window. Let us together try and take something a little more complicated and build it. But in the meantime, Shalaka has shared a finance tracker. I think let's open that. This is again from base 64, base 44. And what this is, okay, proper dashboard where I can add my expense. Let's say spent coffee, $1 today. Yeah, category was food and dining at the end. Let's say paid by credit card and add it as an expense. Okay, great. And yes, now what would be even cooler is as a next step to this, can I upload my bank statement and it can give me this dashboard. We anyway get all of these useless bank statements. We're not doing much with it. That, interestingly, is a very solid vibe coding use case where we take all kinds of data, our all the bills that telecom companies send us, all our internet usage, all our mobile usage, what are all the calendar invites that we have, what are all the texts that we receive, what are all the WhatsApp messages we get. All of that is data. Google Fit, fitness tracking data, Apple Health, whatever you have. Great stuff to vibe code on, and maybe time permitting, we will explore a few of these. Now, we're getting some interesting applications that we can possibly vibe code. Let's take a look. Grocery expense tracking application. Okay, BT is sharing one. That is great. And you'd like to build a grocery expenses tracker. That's a great starting prompt. Learn flow, blah. Okay, here's an idea from Shiva. A website that turns text into music. Wow. Okay, that looks cool. Extract sentiment and turn it into tasteful background music. That can be useful for content, cinema, social media, etc. Let's try that. Now, what exactly? Now, see, I obviously can't read Shivam's mind. The LLM will be able to do a better job of this. So, option one is just take this, put it in, but he can do that as well. What value am I adding? Like a monkey poking its nose in the middle and trying to make a mess of things. Let me see if I can turn it to something that I'm interested in. So, something that turns text into music. Text to music is great. Extracts sentiment and turns it into tasteful background music. Yeah, sentiment. Now, here is where 30 years of programming is stopping. Uh, Sentiment analysis will require a little bit of work. I am lazy. I don't want to fail in front of you in a demo, so my ego is also coming in the way. So I am going to engineer it for simplicity and success, which is an absolutely stupid thing to do. So because I've already caught myself, I'm going to take two tracks. One where I take this and we'll try, we will fail. One where I'll take this, simplify it, and I know we will succeed. So we will have both routes. And that's another thing that I'm learning with AI. You don't have to settle for one option. You can have 20 options and turns it into tasteful background music. Okay, fine. So let us take this idea And next question is, where should I put it? And I could put it into Streakly, but because I'm not paying on Streakly, I have my worries that it will suddenly say, oh, you've exceeded your quota and all of that. It's anyway, oh, it's finished this tour, by the way. Oh, this is a nice tour. Anyone who is starting the application, if they click on this, they will understand what the application is about. This is a great feature. I haven't been using this sort of a thing much. Let me publish it. But now to build this application, where should I go? I could put it on one of, let's say AI Studio, etc. But I'm going to take Claude. Now, having seen a whole bunch of applications in the past, I find that Claude and Gemini have a pretty decent sense of UI, whereas ChatGPT doesn't have that strong a sense of UI. Gemini would be just fine as well. So let's say now this time I'm going to build and what I'm going to do is dictate into it, but I'll notice that out here there is no dictation. So my go-to for dictation these days is ChatGPT. It has a solid dictation engine. I will just dictate here and paste here. Build me an application that can turn text into music. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm asking for, but the idea is that if I paste some text into the application, then it should generate some really tasteful background music. My aim is to somehow use this for content generation for cinema or social media. But to be fair, my thoughts are also not very clear. So why don't you do this? Do some research. Find out what kind of an application along this theme can be really useful and why. Explain it to me. In fact, give me 3 or 4 options. That way I can pick from those, and better yet, to make it easy for me, simplify by telling me the pros and cons of this. If you have a specific recommendation on which of these options I should pick and why, tell me that as well. Then I will give you a go ahead and you can build an application. I am just talking to it to build the application. But in this case, because the idea is not entirely mine, I am asking it for ideas and planning. This, in fact, is formally called planning. A whole bunch of these vibe coding agents have a plan mode, so to speak, where they actually create a plan. While this is planning, let's go into some of the other ideas. More applications. Thank you, folks. Just keep posting the applications. I may not be in a position to open and show all the applications, but it's great that you're posting. The posting is for you. Devanshu has an idea. Create a cinematic video of an inputted data story. I like this idea as well. Let me make a bookmark of that. I will come back to it, Devanshu. Note that you've made this idea, Devanshu. And Chandrasekhar has an idea to create, take the name of a product and generate an 8-second video as an advertisement. Great idea. We don't need an app for it because Gemini does this anyway. And more, and so does Sora, and so do a bunch of things. And what I'm realizing is that the boundary between ChatGPT and all of these kinds of AI chat applications and vibe coding applications is a thin one. You can, I mean, I'll now be vibe coding on Gemini. So you could say, wait, yeah, creating a video is also vibe coding. And I would probably agree. But is it writing code to solve the problem? Is probably where vibe coding comes in. And writing code to create a video, yeah, let's do that. But I suspect you will find that without writing code, it will create better video. Next, Poonam has an idea. Smart student dashboard that shows a screen with classes, deadlines, and so on. Poonam, fantastic idea. You should absolutely try and do this yourself. A dashboard is one of those great things. We'll see if time permits. We'll build a build a dashboard. I'll probably take some other area. Pragati suggests vibe coding, record dreams. Oh, I see. Okay, to record your dreams, to journal it, and then be able to interpret them. Again, that is a great idea, Pragati. The best part is it's very similar to the logging applications, habit tracking kind of a thing that we just saw. Biswaroop suggests building custom applications that can programmatically generate marketing assets via Canva Connect API and automate subscriber management and trigger emails, which basically means, I think, find the contacts and send them something interesting directly via email or whatever, which again is a great idea. We may not be able to exactly build this right now without the API keys, but let's see if we can build some applications that can connect to something. And there are tons of new ideas that are coming up, which some of which we will revisit as we go along. But let's go back to Gemini. Now, yeah. Gemini is saying fascinating challenge, blah, blah, blah. Logic, option one. Yeah, okay, you do all your options. Finally, do you have a recommendation? Okay. Background specialist. Content generation for cinema. Then I need music that respects dialogue. Okay. Option one, Suno is too flashy. Option three is too, okay. Build a tool where I paste a script and it gives me safe, royalty-free background track that matches the emotion of that spec. Okay. What is option two? Analyze the text for sentiment, then calls the beat oven API, requesting a track with that mode. Okay, never knew that there was a beat oven API. Now again, normally a vibe coder at this point will say, okay, go ahead, build option two. But the safe 30-year-old coding veteran is too scared to try this sort of a thing. So now I will do a whole bunch of cross checks. Like, for instance, is this beat oven API free? Can I just directly connect to it and use it? Does it need an API key? In which case do I need to provide an API key? If not, I mean, if I can't directly connect to it, then are there some other equivalents that can provide the background music without needing any API key? That will make it easy. And we are now into the second stage of planning. So before building the application, I'm obviously beat oven. Let me just check. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of verifications. Now, why is this? Because right now I'm in that mode of let's make sure we don't fail in building the application. Remember, I said there's no reason why we need to stick to only one mode. We can go to multiple modes. So let us go to Claude instead and give the original prompt. We can just say, what is it? No, not this one. What is the original? A website. Okay, build a website that turns blah blah blah, extract sentiment or something, whatever, and turn it to tasteful BG music. Fine. Now the OCD person in me is making all the grammatical corrections. We don't need to really do that. But one of the things that we could probably tell it is to actually, okay, no, build a website. It is smart enough. It should be able to figure out that it has to build a website. Fine. Let us see what this builds in parallel. But in the meantime, this one is saying, is there a no API key option? No. Beethoven, is it free? No. They give you some test credits after you sign up. Can I connect without a key? No. Okay. But 15 to 30 minutes is good enough. It's not like we're going to play more than 15 to 30 minutes in this session. So why don't we go ahead and normally I would ask it, how do I go about getting a Beethoven API key and all that? But Beethoven API key and go here, try it for free. Okay. If it asks for a credit card and all that, I'll give up. But if it just lets me use it for free, then industry, okay, social media, workshop videos, I understand all of this and I don't want any promotional emails get lost. Where are my API keys? Help. No, that was too much work. Okay, probably here. API. Very good. Create a token. Copy the token. Great. Now that I have copied this token, I will ask it. I have a Beethoven API key. Here it is. Now, build. How do you spell? Build me that application. And let's see if I have to. Okay. So one of the things that in the past AI has not always been good at is knowing when to build an application, knowing when to tell me how to build an application. Maybe that has improved in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm reasonably in touch with AI, but because I'm constantly working on it. Sometimes my knowledge is 2 weeks out of date, 4 weeks out of date, 6 weeks out of date, etc. Generally, a good idea to try out stuff without that baggage, but I have that baggage, so I'm going to say build me that application. Uh, Option 2, and let us see. But in the meantime, Claude sent me a notification saying it has finished building this application. Very good. Let us see what you have. So paste some text. Okay, I have some text here, and generate the music. Holy shit. You can't hear it, obviously. So, is there a way I can share this with you? This was nice, by the way. It was, okay, how do you, publish artifact, publish, copy the link, and let me send this to the group chat, which is emotion music thing. And you have actually a pretty decent application, come to think of it. Nice idea, Shivam. So here's the thing. Ideas may be the bottleneck. Once we have an idea like this, implementing it is easy. All it takes is a certain amount of, I guess, craziness and guts, because nothing else is stopping us. It's able to do the job. And play it, it wasn't bad. Actually, let's take some other. I'm going to take a script, or a scene. What shall we take? Give. Wait, no, okay. Give me the English translation. Why am I typing this? Chat GPT. And we'll go to that fast mode where give me the English translation of that dialogue in Jab We Met, where Kareena Kapoor is talking to that train conductor, and she says, "Bhai sahab, aap convince ho gaye ya main aur bolu?" And what will be the right audio mood for that? Actually, I could have just probably asked. Hey? Oh, I clicked on the wrong one, is it? Okay, fine. Give me the English translation of the dialogue in the movie Jab We Met, where Kareena Kapoor is talking to the ticket conductor and asking him, "Bhai sahab, aap convince ho gaye ya main aur bolu?" Now, usually ChatGPT is not as good with. Holy shit. Okay, that I did not expect. I did not know that ChatGPT can literally translate into Hindi. But why not? Let me just put this into this and see. Actually, the music kind of sounds the same. So maybe it is not as emotionally tuned as I thought it could be. But okay, for a start, it's not a bad direction to go in. In the meantime, Gemini is still building stuff, which is interesting. Let's take a quick pause here. Going backwards, Sri Lakshmi has shared what Opal has sent. Thank you. And okay, Rootna and Jab, say okay, blah, blah, blah. Nice. This app clearly is working. I probably just had a glitch at the point when I tried it. And others are sharing apps as well. Thanks, Puneet. Others keep sharing. Sharifa is suggesting an AI app that can scan your room or kitchen using the camera and suggest personalized decor ideas like wall art, blah, blah, blah. Great idea, Sharifa. This is the kind of thing that ChatGPT itself can do, though. You just ask it to do it, it will do the trick. And one of the things that I've been struggling with is exactly this sort of situation. Do I really need an app, or can, and when I say ChatGPT, I mean ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc. When these AI chatbots can do the job by themselves, do I even need something else? So the space of apps is, at least in some ways, shrinking, obviously expanding in many other ways. A software engineering community, an emotion music thing. Oh, that is me. Okay. Rituraj is suggesting an application that helps us take a count of our carbon footprint. Great. Tracker idea again. Application that helps me train people who don't understand cybersecurity. Training is actually a nice idea. Let us build something along these lines. One of my colleagues built an interesting application. We'll do that next, but note that in the process of building this, something went wrong. Now, show the console. It is showing some stuff. No idea what this is. Well, actually, I know what this is, but let's pretend I don't know what this is. Fix error. The process of fixing something when it comes to vibe coding, you will see hopefully through this application. Usually it is just fix the error and maybe it will fix it. How often does this work? In my experience, about 1 in 3 times. Meaning, if you have an application and you built an application, it doesn't work first time, try fixing it first time, second time, whatever. 1 in 3 chance that you will be able to get it to work. But 2 out of 3 times, I just abandoned it. Eventually, once trying to fix it makes sense. Even twice trying to fix it is okay. But if it doesn't work too well, it has gotten confused. Start again. Sometimes the very same prompt, but in a different tab can work. Sometimes it is just too complex for it. You'll have to break it up and go for more advanced vibe coding strategies. This is not a session on advanced vibe coding strategies. This is just applied vibe coding. So let it do whatever changes it wants. What we are going to do is close this. Yeah, close this and build using maybe using Claude a learning application. So Giridhar had suggested something that trains people on cybersecurity. So the prompt that I'm going to use again with ChatGPT for voice is build me a gamified application that can be used to train people on cybersecurity. So when I say gamified, I mean let's create a monopoly board. The user can roll a dice. Then the player will move to one particular place, and then that will open up asking a multiple choice question about cybersecurity. Keep in mind that we are focused on online safety in India. So we want to focus on the most common, maybe the 10 latest scams that people are falling prey to. The training should be specific to age groups in blocks of 7 years. And also use the top 10 professions in India using the unorganized sector. Consider a stay-at-home mother also as a profession. Now, for any combination, provide material in that training that is specific to this age group and profession, and make the game fun to play. Now, you'll notice, Giridhar, that I've taken what you had typed, blended it into my idea of a Monopoly game, and we are going to ask Claude to build this. Now, why Claude and why not something else? Because I'm paying for Claude, I know I will not run out of credits. I also know that Claude has a decent sense of UI, so does Gemini, whereas ChatGPT doesn't, and those are the 3 services that I'm paying for. So I'm limiting myself to these. What should you use? Try everything. One of them will click. If you use it twice, thrice, and you find that it's working well, continue on that. These things, whatever we try these days, is temporary. Meaning that things are moving so fast that knowledge of specific tools, specific sites, specific techniques, not worth it. The skill that we are learning is how to learn, really. So, play around. In the meantime, Suno AI for prompt to music is also available. Yes, Chandrasekhar, and that's a great one to use. In fact, I've been listening to Suno playlists. That is, instead of music that I know, I just go to the Suno app and have it play stuff. And arguably, it's almost as good these days. Meaning, between listening to new music from, let's say, films versus new music from Suno, I can't tell the difference. They're all about as good. Okay, an app that takes images in the meetings and checks my posture. That, again, great idea, something that Gemini or the others can do. An app where you bury your emotions as fossils in the geological timeline. This, yeah, has to be some AI that is coming up with these kind of ideas. But yeah, partly because of the bold font and the M dash, which is increasingly becoming easy to detect. Actually, I want a tool to solve this problem. Uh, it is very easy to detect AI because of this long dash. It's a classic sign, or because of the bold and all of these things. What I want is a tool where I can paste this kind of rich text and it should give me simple ASCII characters. Of course, language is another giveaway, that's all right. But let's build that as an application. Now, here I'm going to do something slightly different. Um, Normally, I would build the application directly by coding into a tool like this. But I'm a programmer. I write code, I use Git repositories. Some of you may be programmers. If you are not becoming a programmer, it's very easy these days. So what you can do is have it write a program that you can run on your local machine. Okay, so now if we want to do that, then the next question is what programming language? The good part is it absolutely doesn't matter because it can write in pretty much any programming language. So the real question should probably be, let's ask, yeah, Gemini is probably a good application to ask, but see, I want to build an application that I can run in my machine. But let's assume that I'm not a programmer. I have an out-of-box Windows machine with whatever is the default setup that is there in the Windows machine. And the program must run there without it needing to install new kinds of stuff. So what programming languages can I program in if I wanted to just run in my local Windows machine? Give me the top three options and give me a rough sense of what percentage of Windows machines will come with this built-in. For your context, if you want to know what I'm trying to build, I'm looking to build an application where I can convert text from Unicode characters to ASCII. For example, removing M dash or smart quotes or things like that. Let this convert my speech to text and take this and put this into Gemini and get the answer. I will say, hold on, Anand, you anyway type this in ChatGPT. Why not ask ChatGPT itself to come up with the answer? Because ChatGPT, when it comes up with good answers, is painfully slow. When it comes up with fast answers, is not as good. Gemini or Claude seem to have a slightly narrower range. Their best answers in some cases aren't as good as ChatGPT's, but their good answers are fast enough. And Gemini Pro is okay, thinking it should probably, oh, let's see, saying I'll have a C sharp compiler, batch file, VB script, all kinds of things. And it's saying number one, HTML plus JavaScript. Oh, okay. So it is saying just run it as a local program. It will anyway run on every machine. That is a very good point. Or I could write it in PowerShell. Correct. That's also available in 100% of the uh, local machines. And VB script, yeah. But no, this is making a good point. There is no reason why I should not just build a local HTML file. Fine. So what we'll do is tell it to build the application and we'll save it locally and keep it as a tool. Now, let's say, okay, that sounds great. Build me a HTML application that will convert any Unicode uh, character like smart quotes or M dash or whatever into the closest equivalent. Now keep in mind that I'm going to run this as a HTML file. So just give me a single HTML file. It should not need any other tool, software, installations, etc. Just opening that HTML file in my browser should work. And let's convert that. Cut, paste, and let it run. In the meantime, Claude said it's got the monopoly application we were looking at ready. Okay, and it's smart enough to have thought of Hindi and English. Cyber Suraksha. Clever. And in English, I'm Anand, I'm very old and senior worker bana diya. Okay. I'm what am I? It doesn't have me. Closest tailor or artisan. Okay, let us pretend I'm a tailor or an artisan. Now let me start the game. Okay, can I toggle English here? No, I can't. Why is that? That's okay. So that's one of those things. I should tell it. Can't type. Is it okay? Wait. Allow the user to use the entire app in English. This is an example again of a fix that might work, might not work. I might even need to redo the entire application from scratch, but we'll see. I roll the dice. Okay, and it's moved to UPI. Okay, now what am I supposed to do? Click. Roll the dice again. Oh, okay. Maybe I missed the question earlier. Call received. I'm calling from SBI. Your PAN Aadhaar isn't linked. Download the app now. What will you do? उनको बताएं ऐप को डाउनलोड करूंगा करूंगी which is actually not a bad idea whether you download it or not. Call disconnect करके official helpline screen share Aadhaar number. Yeah, okay. What happens if I say A? Okay, it gives me an explanation, but I get 0 points. Roll the dice again. Dice has come to Nakli Naukri. Okay, Telegram get 100 blah blah blah. This is a honey trap. Yay, fine. Not bad. And the sad part about the gamification is this is engaging enough that I will sit and play this for another 5 minutes just because I'm curious about what the questions are. So let me not get sidetracked. Let's go back to the Gemini application and see if it managed to build something. So if I put in some text here, generate the audio. Okay, some more console errors. Field required, blah, blah, blah. So fix error, second attempt, and see if it works. But the good part is this application went forward one step. It managed to show what the music creator interface could look like, but it still failed at the next step. Now, by now, you are probably confused about what are all the things that we are doing in parallel. Maybe you are not, but I'm definitely confused because we are running so many things in parallel. Typically happens. Browser tabs explode. This is part of the skill that we are increasingly needing to learn. It's like managing a team. Each team member is doing something different. Humans at least take half an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, a few days. They have holidays before they come back and ask us for the next job. These things finish it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. But if you are lucky, they can take an hour. So it's actually a little more stressful to manage an AI team, and increasing our ability to manage such an AI team to constantly give it work is a practice that, well, at least I'm learning. Now, we had asked it to build an application that can convert Unicode characters. We wanted this because we want to remove AI look and feel. So it has said, save this as universal converter.html. Okay, let me copy this code and I will open Notepad or something and paste it. And yeah, some application is there. Save it in my downloads folder as convert.html. And let's open my downloads folder, which seems to have vanished. Okay, it's taking a lot of time. And in my downloads folder, I have a convert.html, which if I open, okay, great. So now if I paste some text that has M dashes and all of that, okay, this has some things. Okay, and Beyonce, all of this looks good. Paste it, convert. Let us see. Curly quotes, okay, where Oh, it didn't really copy Beyonce. I don't think it managed to copy. Oh, this at least it. Umlaut is copied into U, is converted into U. Okay. Let's get the M dash from the application that Krishna Mohan had shared. Yeah, let's take this. Copy this, paste it, convert. Yes, that is a smaller regular minus or hyphen sign, whereas this is a longer M dash. It managed to convert it, and I'm sure if there are any others, it would do a okay job, and if it didn't, then we can always update the application. But what we've done here, and this is the important thing, is we are running the application locally. It's just a web page. We said, give me a web page. Web page is an application that should be able to run without any dependencies, and it is able to do it, which is good. So that's another thing that we are able to do. So good news there. Let's take a quick look uh, at what else we have. More apps. Okay, book therapy app sounds like a great idea, Somshankar. Rajiv suggests an app to guide students' career options. Again, a good idea. Again, I suspect that ChatGPT will do a good job of this. Scroll breaker to stop doom scrolling. Yeah, this could be an interesting one. You could build a browser plugin or an extension that stops you from scrolling too far. Great idea. Can we add a Google sign in option uh, or sign in with email or mobile to these apps? Yes. I don't know how well it will succeed at some. What I mean is, if you know what you're doing, vibe coding this is very easy. If you're a developer and you've built such apps, then giving the right instructions, no problem. If you have never done this before, then there are a bunch of things that you need to know that you can ask it. So a certain amount of planning is required. So the answer to the question can is yes. How easy? Might take a bit more time, but very doable. Sorry, I should have mentioned this upfront. At any point, anyone has any questions or whatever, please feel free to just put on the chat window. Topics discussed in social media. This is again a good one to build an application out of. Any kind of scanning application is generally a good one. But I'm going to pause the applications here and say that, actually let me stop sharing. Let's just talk for a bit. See, so far we've been looking at broadly three kinds of applications. Trackers, utilities like this Monopoly game that we built, or converters like convert text to music or Unicode to ASCII. Those are three types of applications that we've built. Let's go to something slightly different. I'm going to take a few other classes of applications I've been playing around with, and this is not me sharing directly from here. This is me sharing from few stuff that I thought was interesting over the last few weeks. One is data analysis. Another is generation. There are a few more. Let's start with these two. Let's start maybe with generation. I'll share my screen again. Okay, yeah, same one is being shared. So I published a post a short while ago about self-discovering LLM capabilities. Let me put this in the chat so you can take a look at any point you want. But the idea here is that these ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., they have built-in tools. So, for example, one of the tools, when I asked Claude, what are the tools that you have? It said, let's hold on. ChatGPT said, yeah, I have access to FFmpeg, which can do audio video processing. I have access to ImageMagick software, so I can do image processing. I have access to Poplar, so I can do PDF to text conversion, PDF transformation, converting across different document formats. So all of these software are available to ChatGPT. So now what that means is we have another kind of vibe coding we can do. Earlier we were asking it to build the application and the browser was running it. We can ask it to build the application and we can ask it to run it. Now, what are things that we can do with it? So I didn't know. I asked it for ideas and it said, here are a whole bunch of things. Here are some strategies for discovering hidden capabilities that I have. And it gave an idea catalog. It said I can convert audio to explainer videos, blah, blah, blah. All of this is fine. I'm going to pick a different prompt and ask Claude, let's narrate it to ChatGPT. Create a 60-second compilation of stunning algorithmic art as dynamic videos with some fantastic background music to go along with it. Include captions of what you've done in each segment. The video must have a professional cinematic effect. Now, we'll say, wait, hold on. What is algorithmic art? Algorithmic art is where I don't have data, I don't have ideas, I have nothing. But it can use programs to create art. And the kinds of things that are possible with this is actually remarkable. What I found was when I asked it to do this, where did this go? Okay, not this one. Yeah, this is the one. Take a look. It said, I'll create an algorithmic art gallery. This is not the same prompt that I used right now. This is some other prompt from earlier. It started with the Mandelbrot set. This is just 100% AI creating it by itself. Going deeper, all of this is just formulas. It's called a fractal and they are beautiful. Another kind of fractal where it's created a carpet of sorts, not as visually colorful as the earlier one, but can be made a lot more colorful. Another algorithm called Conway's game of life, where you have cells interacting with each other, multiplying, killing each other, and creating another kind of art form. And something called Rule 30, where we looks a little messy, but if you go deeper and deeper, you will find that the same kind of structure is repeating. Domain coloring is where you take a color scheme and apply some dynamics around it to create these kinds of effects. L systems are where you have a line going forwards, bending a little bit, branching, and creating effectively fern kind of structures. The same thing can be done in very different ways by tossing dots randomly using a formula, and that happens to create structures like ferns. Now, in all of these cases, not only is there nothing that has been given to it as an input, it is just using algorithms. It has the smartness to write the code for it as well as run the code for it and generate the output. And obviously, you can't hear the audio around this, but this is something that is possible. Now, where is the vibe coding in this? All of this has been done by code. It has written the code. It has figured out how best to run the code as well. Why is this important? We are used to thinking of code as purpose-driven. We have a problem, I want to solve it. We are not used to thinking of code as an art form. And it seems to be possible. I will say, hold on, as an engineer, I'll make more money. Why am I worried about artists? Not true. Just this morning, I was reading a paper and fact-checking it, where starting from around the mid-80s or 90s, at least in the US, and increasingly in many other geographies, social skills have a higher uplift on salary than math or engineering skills. So increasingly communication and the likes are becoming more important, and with AI that boost is even higher. So I have never taken an art course in my life. My next job is to start taking art courses like this by cheating and having programming teach me some art in the process. Now, This is still working. This can take a good 15 minutes and it will come up with a nice algorithmic art video. So we will progress with that. The next thing is how can we use data analysis? And that perhaps is one of the most powerful things. Uh, let's, in the meantime, see quickly if there are any questions. Question from Pragati. Once we built an app using any of the LLMs, how do we transfer or use the app on our personal devices? Example, mobile. Do we need to save the code somewhere? Or will it run on the browser? If you want to run it on a mobile, Pragati, then the easiest way is to publish it as an artifact. Claude has a publish button, Gemini has a publish button, ChatGPT has a publish button, and share that link via email or WhatsApp to yourself and just use it there. Often they'll put a little bar on top saying this app may not be safe. That's okay. If you're practically trying to use the application, that is absolutely fine. That is the cleanest way. The reason you may want to run it uh, on your laptop is to run it if you don't have an internet connection. In that case, you can ask it, give me a zip file that I can download, or let me copy the file that I can download and keep it as one file. It will give you the file, save it, open it. Question from Sri Lakshmi, if I want to build for a Play Store, how do I do that? Bigger question, Sri Lakshmi, that is a little more complicated, but the short answer is ask one of these applications themselves. Actually, yeah, this whole ask me a question thing I've been doing for so many years. What is the point? I should really say, ask AI. But no, please keep putting your questions here. I will learn from your questions because then I can pass it to AI and answer, and I'll give you some random answer based on what I know. But the better answer for all of these questions will come from AI. But Sri Lakshmi, it is entirely possible to publish a mobile app onto a Play Store end to end. So Vijay Shrikant says data analytics is interesting. Can I explain that? Let's do exactly that. Now for this we need a data set and obviously we need ideas. So let's ask Gemini, which I will prompt by voice on ChatGPT. I'm in the middle of an NPTEL workshop. I want to show how ChatGPT, etc., can analyze data. Now for this, I need a data set. I can maybe create a fake data set, but what is the fun in that? I would also like the participants to pick some data sets that they have and will be able to analyze it. But here's the thing, now right at the last minute finding that data set is going to be time consuming for me as well as for them. What are the top 5 data sets that almost anyone will be able to access instantly? They will readily have, and the data is large enough that some amount of data analysis is useful and worth doing on this. Tell me both the data sets as well as how one can go about getting these data sets, and let it think. In my case, I have plenty of data sets, but let it suggest what data sets you might have. Rajiv suggests an iris dataset. Rajiv, others for your information, the iris dataset is a classic dataset which will let you figure out from measuring the size of the petals and sepals of flowers what type of flower it is. There is nothing more boring than using somebody else's dataset. The most interesting data sets are our own data about ourselves. So if you have your GitHub repo or your previous iris dataset training data or anything else, it is fantastic. Shivam asks, it must be annoying to open GPT just for voice to text. I have an extension for this, Shivam, which lets me transcribe, but it's not relevant for this workshop. Show you how you could do it. Vijay Shrikant suggests crude oil prices. Again, great data set. Personal data is always better. And Chrome history data maybe. Yes, sure. That's a great idea. If you can extract the Chrome history data, please do so. Let's suggest what this says. WhatsApp chat history. Okay, that is a good one. We can pick a WhatsApp chat and export it. almost everyone should be able to export, whether it's Android or iOS. You can go to the more and export chat of some uh, chat. Netflix viewing activity. Interesting. You can go to Netflix account, profile, viewing activity, download all. I have never done this. Let me go to my Netflix account. I'm going to have to split the screens because my brain is too tiny to process two instructions at the same time. How do I? Okay, account, and then profile and parental controls. Okay, this is not quite the same thing. Arrow next to your profile, viewing activity. So because okay, profiles, my profile, uh, viewing activity, huh? Okay, and download all. Very nice. I have my Netflix viewing activity. Good. Learned something. Third thing that it's saying is local computer file inventory. Huh? This is true. Everybody will have a list of files and their file sizes. So it's given me a command of how I can get the full file list. And yeah, let me do this. I'm going to open the terminal. For some of you, it will be the command prompt. Okay, wait. I'll have to ask it how. Okay, it is explaining how you can do it in Windows. I have Linux. Some of you may have Mac. Find out the instructions for listing the files in all directories along with the sizes. So if I typed ls minus lr, what does this do? Okay, ls minus lr. Okay, that's long enough. Fine. Create download slash files dot txt. So I have two data sets. Let it, yeah, that finished. Bank or credit card statements, which I've done several times, which is really interesting. Lots of, actually, I should show you what I've learned from my bank statement. I will show you that in a few minutes, but I'm not going to directly upload my bank statement on a live recorded session. Screen time is not a bad idea. How do you? Oh, okay. You can't export it, but you can ask ChatGPT to digitize this chart. Okay, interesting. Backup plan, yeah, then you can download. And there are a whole bunch of very good suggestions like Vijay Shrikant's stock market prices from S&P, etc. So to download some data set. I'm going to take one of my data sets, either my list of files or if my Netflix viewing is large enough. How large is it? Let me open it in something like Excel. Okay, 2000 files. All right, fine. So now it only has the file name and the um, date I watched it at. So let me go to ChatGPT. And now why ChatGPT? Because I know ChatGPT is pretty good at this kind of analysis. And I'm going to say, I've uploaded my Netflix viewership data. Don't worry too much about what movies I'm watching. I'm very curious about when I'm watching. You have the dates. Do some interesting, crazy analysis, but give me a mind blowing set of insights on my watching behavior. So, step one, tell it what to do, which is not very specific. And step two, add photos and files, which is this Netflix viewing history, and give it time. Yeah, it's uploaded, and let it run. So my most recent movies, Bewakufiyan, Pixels. Okay, I have not finished watching these movies. These are all movies that I just probably clicked on and watched a little bit. Or okay, my wife or daughter have been watching some of these. So technically, this is not my movies. This is some combination of family movie watching behavior. But okay, let's let it do whatever insights it can figure out. In the meantime, we have some more ideas, but let me pause to say one thing. Try this out now with your data. Just as vibe coding is one of the most powerful things you can walk out of this session with, vibe analysis is an equally powerful thing that you can walk out of this session with. And I'll show you how you can publish or share the analysis as well. But uh, Chandrasekhar has an idea for an application to alert when a driver falls asleep or is yawning. That is a great idea. And yes, is something that can be vibe coded as a prototype. When you put it into production, you'll probably want to pay close attention to the code. Balakarthik suggests reading a public electoral roll and yeah, processing the PDF is a pain. That, yes, is almost exactly the kind of thing that vibe analysis is suited for. Niche PR suggests minimizing manual mistakes. Yes. Let's see. This one will take a good. Wait, what? Oh, I put instant. Sorry. I should have put in thinking. And let me just delete this entire thing and start again. The reason I put it in thinking mode is because instant, well, doesn't really do much thinking, and this requires a decent amount of thinking. Now I'll show you some of the thinking that it's doing as it goes along. That thinking is quite fascinating. First, let me move this out. Right. So the thinking mode, by the way, this requires, I think, the paid account. It may not appear on the free account. The highest ROI investment that I've made in life is paying the $20 for ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, worth 30 Netflix subscriptions. I mean, even in terms of entertainment, it's good entertainment. So please do subscribe to any of these. Now, here's a nice part. See, it is writing code, but it is also running code. It has its own container. It has its own computer. And it will run the code, do the result. It will rewrite the code if it made a mistake. It so far is not making any mistakes, but it's getting a sense of, for instance, from January 12, 2019 to January 4, 2026, there are 1,222 unique days with activities. So that's about 2 1/3 movies per day. Good to know. And it's figuring out stuff like this. 48% of the days had Netflix viewing recorded. So which means that 1 out of every 2 days I'm watching Netflix, or we are watching Netflix. And then, okay, now it's looking at days of the week distribution. How many Mondays, how many Tuesdays, etc. Yeah, I really don't know when I watch or when we watch Netflix more. Weekends would be the logical guess, but let's see. And yeah, then doing, okay, lift for active days compared to the average. Okay. So now it's found that there's a 12.8% lift on Saturdays, understandable. Sundays is 7.7. Thursdays has a positive lift. I have no idea why. Why would we? Desperation, anticipation of weekend. But even then, Friday should be higher, no? Friday is actually lower. Beats me. Okay, now it's looking for seasonality. December spikes and all of that. So it should probably be October spike with Diwali and all that. Let's see. Uh, it's identifying binge months. July 2021. What happened in July 2021? COVID ended and we started celebrating. May 2020, yeah, that must be hardcore COVID effect. That's probably, yeah, actually come to think of it, I must have taken a Netflix subscription because of COVID. Jan 12, 2019. I think that was just before COVID. So, okay, in anticipation of COVID. Obviously very futuristic of me. But yeah, oh, so you'll notice that out here it's made a mistake. It wrote some code and the program had an error. And how do I know it's an error? There's a red bar here. So, okay, fine. It will then correct itself, get the actual data. And now it's doing smart stuff like computing standard deviation and all of that. So yeah, here is the other thing that I can ask it. Now see, as an analyst, I can now bring in my intelligence. I can ask smart questions like, are you really sure? Is this statistically significant? Knock off all the stuff which is statistically not significant and so on. Now, I've been doing this literally all my life, okay, last 20 years. So I kind of have some expertise which ChatGPT may not have yet thought of. It has studied practically everything in the world, but on average, it may apply the blend of all of that knowledge. I will be able to guide it a little bit, at least in this area. So one of the things that I'm doing is splitting all of my prompts into two categories. Category one, where I know stuff, either because it is about me. So I know where I'm employed, I know where I pay tax, all of that, and it will not know. Or where I've spent a lot of time and I believe myself to be an expert. There will be 3 or 4 areas where I have detailed prompts on how to do stuff. The second category is where I ask it to play the role of an expert. And let me share these prompts with you. Uh, Blog prompts. Let's start with my analysis prompt, which is not here. Or is it? It's called recording. It's interesting. Apparently, Govinda Krishna, you can make annotations on the screen. That is interesting. I didn't know that was a Zoom feature. I don't know how to remove these annotations, so they're going to be there until somebody removes the annotations. That's cool. Uh, no, this is not. Let's see. GitHub scripts analyze insights. Yeah, here is the prompt that I use for analysis. Actually, analysis and visualization. And I'm just going to paste it in the chat so you can take a look at it. And what this does is go into details of, look, I want you to analyze data like an investigative journalist. Make them say, wait, really? Something that surprises them. How do you do it? Understand the data, figure out what matters to that audience, figure out what is really signal, segment, find out that small leverage points where little effect has high impact, and cross-check. This is my cross-check prompt. Check with the real world, check if this is, check if you made a mistake, check for bias, check for common mistakes humans make. You've been trained on human data and human practices, so you'll make the same kinds of mistakes humans make, at least in some cases. And look for where I've given you incorrect stuff, where you're guessing, all of these things. So I can just copy paste this, and once it's finished its analysis, which will take a long sweet time, I can ask it then to verify and stress test. Now, this will really take a very long time. Let it run. I've got a few other things to talk about. The other thing that this has is my visualization prompt, which is write as a narrative-driven data story. It's write like Malcolm Gladwell, draw like the New York Times data visualization team. Why? Because I kind of know that their styles are pretty good, and you can ask for very different styles as well. And I have a style catalog of whose style to use for what. But this would start with a compelling hook, story arc, integrated visualization, blah, blah, blah. And there are other formats. Sometimes I ask for an exec summary. Sometimes I ask for an actionable report. Now, somebody had mentioned a dashboard earlier. Let me see if I have in my notes who mentioned the dashboard. Yeah, Poonam had mentioned a smart student dashboard. Now, Poonam, what I find is that a dashboard is basically when we don't know what we want. Typically, a dashboard emerged this way. There is a senior exec who says, I want to solve this particular problem, and this particular problem, and this particular problem. Give me the data, to his executive assistant. Now, the exec assistant, by the time he's written down the third point, has forgotten all the stuff that the CEO has said. So the exec assistant goes to the IT team and says, I want you to build me something that can show any data that the CEO wants. The IT team gives it to a vendor and says, it should be able to generate any kind of data, and adds 250 technical requirements on top of it. It should be, whatever answer should be there in half a second. It should run on Windows, it should run on this, blah, blah, blah. The original requirement has completely vanished in the process. This is typically what a dashboard is, where in this process of Chinese whispers, people have lost track of what they want. Instead, we have an alternative, which is we know exactly what question to ask. The CEO directly asks a question and gets the answer. Or if the CEO doesn't know what to ask for, they can say, tell me what you know about the data, and it will give an answer. So we may not need a student dashboard, we may need a student data story. What do those look like? Let me share a few. Using this exact data story prompt, I analyze, and in fact, this exact analysis prompt, I analyzed my bank statements. I may have published those. Uh, a lot of two strangers. Actually, all of these are based on the same prompt. I thought I'll show you the bank statement one. Maybe I did not publish it. Okay, this is my website. Let's just pick something at random that was communicated, okay, that I published recently. Okay, yeah. This is where I took my Google Fit data and created the story. Let me share this link. Google Fit data and data story. I track my weight, and this shows my weight over time. From 2022 to 2025, it shows all of the weight data, and step by step, it tells what the story is. So it's saying zoom in. 2025 is when the case really opens. I started with 86.4 kgs, and by the end of the year, I ended up 24.2 kgs less. I actually lost 24 kgs this year, 25 give or take. It's also saying that the curve isn't the story. It's not one story. It's actually three stories. It's breaking it down into different segments. There were, well, okay, I'm not going to sit and read through the entire story, but as it scrolls through, it points to specific areas and shows this is what's happening here, what is the correlation between steps, blah, blah, blah. Proper, decent story about how I actually lost 24 kgs over the last year. This is an example of a web application that was vibe coded using the prompt. And before somebody, oh, okay, Rajiv has already asked me the question, which is share your weight loss secret. It's fairly straightforward. I eat one meal less per day. So 2 meals instead of 3 meals. It worked for me. For different people, different things work. This is generated via these prompts. Let's see what we can learn about my Netflix. Oh, this is still running. Okay. Then we'll have to wait. What I'd love for you to do is, we have another half an hour, which I'm going to split between questions and other things. But this was the primary thing that I wanted to cover in this session, or at least get close to, which is you can take data, upload it into ChatGPT, have it do the analysis, and then create a web story out of it. It would be great if any of you could follow the same process. Upload any data set, have it create a data story, publish it as an artifact. If you're using ChatGPT, how do you publish it? On the right side, an artifact, I mean, it'll say, here is the application. You click on publish, it will publish and copy the link. But maybe this is a good time to take any questions that come up. And I'll also see if I can remove this annotation thing. Or, okay, yeah, while the, okay. Are there any cyber threats in artifacts? Absolutely, Chandrasekhar. There are several kinds of problems. Problem number one, the application that we write may accidentally have cybersecurity errors. It just may not be a very safe one. What are examples of not safe applications? Supposing I build an application that searches online for news and automatically emails it. What email IDs should I send it to? That list of email IDs may be LLM generated by the vibe coded application. And the article that I'm reading may have an email ID. It may send it to that email ID as well. In that case, it's data leakage. That's an example of a cyber threat. But a short answer, when human applications have cyber risks, AI applications will also likely have cyber risks. So what should we do? Same thing that an intern coding an application would do. Give it to their boss and have them use whatever process they use for checking and verifying code and validating it. How to guardrail data privacy? Same answer, Abdul. Today we have a set of processes. Doesn't matter who generates or what generates the code. Follow the same process. Uh, why will other people use when there is any threat? We are strange people, Chandrasekhar. When Google loses millions of email records, when companies find that they are stealing hundreds and thousands of credit card records, we are still going ahead and giving them their credit cards, probably because of convenience. Say, well, look, this happens once in a thousand times. I might get lucky. If I go out, I could get hit by a bus or struck by a lightning. We still go out. So I guess all of us make that balance, that trade off. When COVID struck, many of us in the initial days were still going out. Took a full fledged regulation to actually stop that. So if the threat becomes so large, some kind of enforcement at the individual level, the organization level, the government level, global level will probably come up. But at the moment, people are saying that the utility is still high. How can we deploy code as an API using ChatGPT or any other tool? This is something that Anuj, is okay, like any other application. The quickest answer that I can give you is search for Codex or Claude Code and or Cursor, and that will give you the details, and you're probably already familiar with it. Manjeet asks, how do you protect your data, like your Netflix history? Don't share it uh, widely when you're sharing it with any person or organization. Take a look at what their privacy policy is, or check with ChatGPT, is it okay to share with this particular website, and it will give you the advice, pros and cons. That increasingly is becoming the mechanism. Mandeep's asking if I can create code to plan my day based on my emails. Yes, absolutely. And auto tune based on what I actually do, what I need to do, and add important events to the calendar. Is it possible? Yes, Mandeep, I've tried it. It works and it does not work very well. Why does it not work very well? Because I don't know what I want. The application did what I asked it to do. So technological probability feasibility, not a problem. We, I think, have to iteratively learn how best to use it, and I'm still in that process. How do you configure agents? Broad question, Kishore, and probably not for this session, but I will guide you towards just searching online for or asking ChatGPT and the likes for Codex or Claude Code as agents to explore. BT says this is great for personal use. What if I'm using my company data and have only LLM providers from my company? What are the best techniques or tools that we can use in that scenario? Typically, your organization would have tied up with Google for Gemini or Microsoft for Copilot or maybe AWS for Bedrock or OpenAI or one of these. In other words, you will likely have access to one of these chat agents. The chat agents have the ability, hopefully, you have, but I mean, 95% you will have the ability to execute the code in that environment. So once you have that ability to execute code, like you're seeing here, then it's not a problem. After that, you can just do all of the stuff that we did here using your corporate data in a corporate approved environment. Do not bring corporate data outside of the corporate approved environment. It's not worth the risk usually. Uh, Balaji, yeah, a question on security and privacy practices, same as we talked about before. Viruses can be trained using AI. In future, how safe can we be from these attacks? Viruses can learn and update themselves. The good part is now antiviruses are also learning to update themselves and defend. So yes, in the race between attack and defense, attack can go ahead, defense can sometimes go ahead. We may be in a situation where attack is going further ahead than defense because we don't know what are all the kinds of attacks that are possible. Therefore, like perhaps in the early PC days, we may see an increase of viruses. I don't know whether there are any different kinds of protections that we need to be aware of. only one that I'm conscious of these days is what Simon Willison calls the lethal trifecta. Uh, this is an interesting combination from a security perspective. That is, if you have a system that has access to private data and can communicate externally and is exposed to untrusted content, then you have a security risk. What does that mean? And what it's also saying is pick any two, never have all three. So, supposing I have an AI application which has access to my bank data and it can talk externally, then if I expose it to some untrusted content, now which could be an email from, if I just copy paste the contents of an email from a stranger, they ask a question, I just put it into this. That email may contain instructions to take private data and send it externally. So we have a problem. It could therefore be solved by number one, don't give access to private data. So it's a public application. It can communicate externally, it can do unsafe things, but who cares? There's nothing unsafe about the underlying data. Or you can knock off the ability to communicate externally. I will take all kinds of dangerous viruses and give them access to private data, but it's all running in my machine. Even if it tries to send anything outside, it can't because it's completely airboxed in my machine. Or I will communicate externally, I have private data, but the only content that goes in is my own content. Now, this last bit is the tricky bit. What is my own content? If I have downloaded a PDF that one of my colleagues has sent me, is that my own content? Maybe. What if I had generated that PDF myself, but had done it by copy pasting from ChatGPT? Is that still my own content? There are invisible characters that we cannot see, that AI can see. What if it contained those? So, in short, the one thing that I'm learning is what constitutes untrusted content is very broad. And therefore, there is at least one new behavior that I need to learn about protecting myself against threats, which is being more broadly aware of uh, what constitutes untrusted content. Kishore's question on configuring agents, like I mentioned, just search online would help. Shivan's question on how did I design this prompt, presumably this one. 20 years of experience, Shiva. Capturing all of that, iterating. So unfortunately, this one doesn't have a shortcut yet. How can we enforce governance? Just what I covered Biswarup a short while ago. Rajiv suggests build an application where caller is a phishing call to seek bank details. And application should disconnect automatically. Good idea. Maybe not disconnect automatically, but at least warn the user so that in case there are false positives, then it doesn't disrupt the experience. But yeah, just flagging off when the person is speaking, saying, look, this sounds like a scam is a great idea. If I create an app through vibe code, shall I convert into a business model if it can be successful? Absolutely, Prabhakaran. Though usually, if you can vibe code, anyone can vibe code. The differentiation will come from the stuff that you are not vibe coding. Therefore, if you said, look, I have a great idea, and yesterday it would have taken weeks, months, years to implement it because the coding would have taken time. But the real power is not in who can execute the code. The real power is in the rest of the idea. Then it is a great business model. If the vibe coding was the bulk of it, anyone can do it, therefore is less powerful. How can I keep updating it? Vibe coding again. Mandeep comments anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is a new browser by Google and that lets you do all kinds of automations. So let's actually see if we can run anti-gravity now. I'm opening anti-gravity in my other window. Trust workspace and continue. So what anti-gravity allows is an agent manager where I can have it do stuff on my behalf. So for example, what could I do? Visit my GitHub page, uh, github.com/s10, and find out how many days I did versus did not code in 2026. And fast planning, yeah, do what you want and run this. Now, what this does is it uses the browser to open a particular page. In this particular case, it will go to github.com/s10, and it will write code locally or inside that page and do stuff. So yeah, it's opened the browser. I don't have control over it. Just my hands are up there, and you can see a bluish border around it. And it is probably doing all of the controlling. Now it turns black when it's not controlling it. It turns white when it's controlling it, I think, or something like that. So fine, let it do its work. Okay, it's retrieving all my browser pages. Fine. Now, this enables a different kind of vibe coding power. Specifically, it allows you to do what the browser normally does, which is a great capability. Please play around with anti-gravity, keeping in mind that, like everything else, it can be dangerous. Once you get used to it, you will find that the usefulness is so powerful that not using it is like not going out because there may be a bus accident or a lightning. Feasibility of vibe coding or analyzing with local LLMs using Olama, etc. Very possible, Balakarthik. The trouble is that unless you have a very good GPU machine, this is uh, not as fast nor as capable. So you may find it useful, say when you're on a flight, to do small checks or small automations. To wipe code an entire application requires a lot more effort these days. Now the good models are becoming smaller and faster. So Qwen 3 Coder, for instance, and Kimi K2 Thinking, they are models that can run on a reasonable number of GPU machines and are small enough uh, to do so and are good enough that they can almost compete with the likes of Cloud Opus 4.5. Uh, I have not in the last 6 months locally vibe coded. My experience before that was not yet. It may have changed a little bit, but it has, from what I've seen and read, not gone to the point where this matches the experience of vibe coding when you're online. Do try it. Uh, on a job creation system, Chandrasekhar, the best thing to guide you on this is copy the exact same prompt and put it into Gemini or Claude or whatever. Good MOOC for associated knowledge. Devanshu, the trouble is this field is moving so fast. By the time somebody comes up with a MOOC, it's outdated. And I don't mean outdated in parts, I mean outdated in full. Don't even bother. Go to Notebook LM or any of these learning apps these days and ask it to create a MOOC. So, short answer, Notebook LM, etc. Tirthankar's question is, if app creation is becoming so simple, will SaaS applications like expense solutions at all be needed in the future? One theory, Tirthankar, is that they will not. And a lot of applications will end up getting folded into the likes of ChatGPT. A lot of people are touting the death of SaaS applications, or at least restructuring. How the industry might restructure, I don't know. And again, great question to ask ChatGPT to or Claude or whatever to predict what the future might be and keep updating based on newer and newer information. Same question by Chandrasekhar. Vikas asks, in my experience, where does vibe coding fail most predictably? The more complex the application, the more it fails. Now, what does complexity mean? Roughly, large is one axis and not easy for software to do is another axis. How do you know large? You can guess, and experience helps. How do you know what software can or cannot do today? Experience helps. In the absence of either of these, best to go into planning mode. And I usually do this. I ask, look, based on today's technology, do you think vibe coding this will work or not work? Why? How can I break it up? Simplify it. And I'm learning from that experience. But I'm also worried that learning from that experience is useless because it will be outdated in a few weeks. So I'm practicing just asking every time. Um, Abdul, what prompt were you referring to? If you can just reply to that message, I'll share the prompt. Can anti-gravity be used to scrub websites? Yes, absolutely, it can. Slow and expensive, might not be worth it, but the answer is yes. In fact, let's see how far anti-gravity has. Okay, unexpectedly long to load. I'm not sure where that got stuck. Editor. Oh, it's waiting for me to confirm something. Yeah, confirm whatever. I should have changed the mode to auto run. Continuing with the questions, can anti-gravity, oh yeah, sorry, question from Praveen. We're trying to build simple applications. Is there a large-scale enterprise-grade application for which a new feature is to be developed? Can we use vibe coding? Using vibe coding is like telling an intern to build it. Can you? Yes. Would you deploy it without reading the code? Probably not. Would you treat it any differently from an intern who has run the code? Not required. So if yes, what are the things the developer should be aware of and what prompting techniques should we follow? The short answer is if you became the lead developer in the project, whatever the lead developer would do is what you should do. Now, if you say, Anand, what is in one sentence, what are the things a lead developer would do? That is a bigger question. Well, I haven't thought it well enough to be able to explain that quickly, but I can say that the way I treat AI is exactly the way I treat an intern or a junior developer. And therefore, asking an AI, what does a lead developer do to check a junior developer's code, is the answer to this question. Vani, yes, a recording of this session will be made available. I'll tell you the URL where I will place it. Zero talks, somewhere in this talks page, it will appear and I will paste that in the group chat. The recording will by tomorrow appear at this link. Anti-gravity can run on local host. How can we run on a public website on public domain? I'm guessing your question, Sri Lakshmi, is can I just go to some website and run something like anti-gravity there? The answer is yes. There are a bunch of these tools available. So ChatGPT, for instance, has something called agent or computer use or some such thing. Okay, it used to have it. ChatGPT computer use agent. Okay, maybe that requires the Pro version, which is the $200 version, and I have only the $20 one. But they exist, and you can use an external engine. Oh, okay, this thing is going to, because anti-gravity is active, most of these sites will ban me. Hold on. Confirm. Yeah, but coming back to your question, just do a search, you will find enough of these. The term to search for is computer use agents. The data analysis prompt, I will reply to that. It's not this one. Yeah, this is the one. And do we have a community or WhatsApp group related to this session? No, Kishore, could have been a good idea, but it's okay. For running MLDL models on my research dataset, which AI platform should I prefer for coding? The answer changes so often, Sohini, that it almost doesn't matter what I say now, it's going to be outdated in a month. But today, I would use ChatGPT. Borderline. I might just switch to Gemini because it writes better code, or Claude because it has better style. It's a very borderline question. 2 months ago, I had clearly said ChatGPT because it was ahead at that time. Now I'm no longer sure. Puneet asks, how do we incorporate robust testing and debugging practices into the vibe coding workflow? Ask it to write unit tests. Ask it to uh, write integration tests. The prompt that I use in my agents.md for coding, let me show you my code skill. Mm, means, wait, what is skills? I thought I had a skill. Ah, yeah, this is the one. This is what I'm using increasingly for all kinds of uh, coding and testing. Okay, that just jumped somewhere thanks to anti-gravity probably. And one of the things that I add is when tests exist, write or when you're writing new code, add the tests first and keep the tests fast. So at least there is a nudge to say that you should put in some tests. I'll share this prompt for what it's worth, but this isn't a great or a useful prompt. What you can do is put in the various Claude Code skills for testing that are available out there or the general testing practices. But in short, if you know what you want and why you want it, tell it what is the best way of incorporating this to achieve a certain objective, it will tell you. Perplexity has all models. Is it better? I have not used Perplexity much. The few times people have nudged me towards it and I've used it, I have not found a reason to switch to it, Mandeep. Not that therefore it is not good. I'm by and large sticking to Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini because I have paid subscriptions for those. Okay, I think we have out of questions for now and we have 10 minutes. So let me go back to the Netflix analysis. Uh, and before we go through this, I will add the last prompt that I had, which asks it to create a data story. And while it is doing that data story, and okay, I'm also asking it to go into canvas mode and run this. Now, what can we learn about my Netflix behavior? Uh, so it, yeah, understood the stuff. Okay. Oh, it claimed a few things. Okay. So there are a set. Okay. Let's first read what it found. Mm, okay. Created a chronobiology for me. I watched about 48% in the last 7 years, and 2021 during COVID, yeah, was the aftershock binge. 2025, interesting that we watched the least, not sure why. 22 days is the largest streak, and 76 days we went without watching Netflix. Interesting. Sundays are when we binge watch. Yes, very understandable. Wednesdays are the least. Okay, fair enough. So it's a guilt buffering behavior. This I did not think of. I delay gratification through the work week and overcompensate on the weekends. It's not bad. Okay. So disciplined minds blow off steam. Good to know that I'm like most people. July 21 is the top viewing season. December 2019, pre-pandemic, or we were just getting used to Netflix probably. And 17 surges, 16 hibernations. Nothing major in this. Okay. And it's saying, okay, 1-to-1 ratio between days watched and not watched is a good balance for a high output creator. So is it saying I'm watching too much for a high output creator or too little? 22 streak cap suggests self-limiting habit loop. Okay. 76 days major life transition possible. Depends on when. But the fact checking is probably going to show some stuff. Alternate day habit it's saying is still true. What did it miss? Sundays and Wednesdays. Ah, okay. Interesting. It's saying there are two reasonable day of week metrics. Which weekdays do you watch at all? And Saturday was the highest. Whereas if you come, okay, some other metrics. So in short, it's saying I looked at two different metrics and weekday, Saturday versus Sunday, there is not much of a difference. Okay, good to know. When you watch, how many watch events happen? Okay. Uh, and it's saying that Sunday is ahead of Wednesdays is really chance. So it's not a very strong significance. In other words, my watching, yes, is higher on Sundays, lower on Wednesdays, but this is not statistically significant. That is good to know. And external cross checks, it's saying COVID streaming surge is well documented. Weekend components, blah, 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 nothing unusual here. So cross check found two errors that it made. Now it's going to do the visualization, which I'll probably put in the chat window. But like I said, the kinds of visuals that it can create, you'd see in the data stories page, and some of them are truly stunning. At this point, if anti-gravity is still not done, I will start wrapping up, and maybe if there's time for one or two questions, I will take those. Okay, yeah, probably just one. Hari Krishnan asks if vibe coding of video generation apps is that easy. What benefit when using Synthesia or Midjourney? Is that for enterprise scale? Maybe the difference will fade over time, Hari. I'm not sure if today the tools that are able to vibe code even have access to the models that can generate the videos. These are two very different things. Creating a video by vibe coding means writing a program to create a video. And even if 1,000 programmers sat and created a video, they may not be able to create the realistic kind of videos that a camera can take or a VO or Sora can generate. Those are generated, or a Midjourney can generate for that matter. But if you start connecting vibe coding to an API like Synthesia or Midjourney, then the possibilities get compounded. So maybe it's not an either or, it may be each has its place and combining them can come up with even more. Some of the things that we started are incomplete. That is actually pretty thematic of vibe coding in itself. You don't necessarily vibe code so that everything goes to closure. You don't necessarily vibe code to make sure that everything succeeds. You vibe code because it's easy and it can take you to places where you might not have otherwise been able to go to. It lowers the cost dramatically. What takeaways would I recommend from this 2 hours of almost monologuing? One, practice vibe coding. How often? I would say for 1 month, every day. That's what it takes to build a habit. When you force yourself, that's when you will get ideas. That's when the brain will get trained to think of vibe coding, which otherwise you might not even have thought of. If you don't know what to vibe code, ask ChatGPT. It will give you ideas. But spend that time doing a little bit of vibe coding. Second, learn to give up. In this session, I have been somewhat careful in showing how vibe coding can be made easy, meaning I've picked easy examples. What you may find is that these easy examples, or what you try may not be easy examples, or I have 30 years of programming experience, so I probably will be able to get more apps to succeed than you will. When something fails, don't try too hard. Just give up, move on, try something else. That is usually higher ROI than getting stuck on something and trying to get it to work. Not saying that you shouldn't do that, but don't bother. Third, new tools are constantly getting released every day. There are two perspectives on this. One is, it doesn't matter what tool you use. They all have similar capabilities. So you may as well just stick to one tool and pursue learning that better. No harm. Or you could say, when I try out new things in new tools, it gives me a different idea, a different perspective. No harm. Doesn't matter. The important thing is that you actually keep the practice up, and that is vital. We don't have any group to share, communicate, whatever. But that is the beauty of vibe coding. Each of you can create a community, create one. Each of you can create a blog if you don't have one blog. Each of you can publish what you have on social media, publish, effectively create your own communities. Share what you vibe coded. This is my only request and possibly the biggest takeaway of all. If you share what you vibe coded, others will learn, get inspired, but more importantly, we learn best when we teach. So if you can get to the point where you are able to teach vibe coding to any one person, your kids, your neighbors, your grandparents, that, apart from enabling them dramatically, takes you to the next level where you are able to truly understand what vibe coding is, and it will become part of your skill set. With that, thank you everyone for joining in. We are at the hour and it's been a great time having you. Take care. All the best, vibe coding. Have a good day.